Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Thank you so much for those of you who have been sticking with me. The last time that I made a podcast, it was prior to surgery. According to the doctor, the surgery went as could be expected. No unusual things happened once he got in there. I am now in recovery, and it's going to be a long journey. I am 1 week in to not being able to put any weight whatsoever on my right foot, which is my driving foot. Can't drive without that. And it's already, taking a toll. I'm trying to keep my mindset right. The same things that I teach in here for all of you, I am practicing myself. The idea, I get up in the morning, I still pray every morning. I read my Bible every morning. I text some people in the morning, sometimes too early for them, but it is what it is. And I go about my day as best I possibly can. I elevate and ice, all the things. But man, it's driving me nuts already. So I got 7 more weeks of this. For those of you who care, thank you. For those of you who don't, you're going to just fast forward like 20 seconds, I guess. But definitely welcome thoughts, good vibes, prayers, all of the things, because it's going to be a journey. We today, since I've been away, it seems to happen pretty much every time I disappear, because there's just always new crap going on in the world. I have learned some new things about humanity, and we seem to dismiss who is responsible for murders or attempted murders. We justify, we blame, all this crap, which some of that's not new, but some of it kind of is a little bit on the newer side in our current cultural state of being. So your tip of the day today is being a good teammate is one of the most important roles for social creatures. Being a good teammate is one of the most important roles for social creatures. That would be social creatures like horses and people and pack animals like dogs. They have roles. And you, my friend, you have a role. So I'm going to come at you a little bit hard today because I love you and I care about you and I want you to succeed. But what we have going on right now is the pointing and the blaming. And it's driving me friggin' batty. It is absolutely driving me nuts. I got to tell you, my number one role here is human, because that's what I am. Your number one role is human, because that's what you are. If you are listening to this and you are a human being, you are human first and foremost. And that is being forgotten and neglected. My hope today is to wake you up. Because what we have going on in the world right now is some extremism. And when I'm talking about extremism, I am talking about justification for attempted murders, justification for violent rhetoric. And you, me, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, culture is at the top, not politics. Culture. We should not tolerate violent rhetoric, and we should not tolerate violent acts, period. Okay? We shouldn't. Every violent interaction should be looked at, should be explored, and should be assessed in a way that says, from a place of we are intolerant of this, what do we do? Because violence in response to violence is what's coming if we don't make a shift. And that's just how that's how it is, folks. You don't have to like this. I'm giving you the truth as best I know how. And let's be real, there has been some massive extremism. Now, everybody wants to say, oh, it's their fault. They're the ones doing it. Police your own side, because being a good teammate, like here, hey, baseball's in full swing. Let's go with a quick baseball analogy for you. All right. If Mets and Yankees, because they're both in the same state. All right. If you're a Mets fan or you're on the Mets team, you are on one side. And if you are a Yankees fan or on the Yankees team, you are on the other side. Even though everybody involved is human, they have aligned with their fandom or their skill to one side of that equation or the other. If the Yankees are acting like a bunch of idiots, or there's a few players on the Yankees acting like a bunch of idiots, the Mets cannot fix them. It doesn't work that way. If the Mets do that, then everybody on the Yankees focuses on the Mets temporarily and hates the Mets. And vice versa. Flip the scenario. So if you have chosen a team, fine. I don't care. Do your thing. But if you have chosen a team and you have forgotten your role as a human being, you're an idiot. You should fix that. Because we are human first and teammate second. In that order. So let's talk about the extremism. Charlie Kirk got killed, murdered, assassinated, whatever language you want to put in there. That is a fact. Donald Trump has been, there has been at least 3 attempts that we know of on his life. January 6th was a protest gone bad turned riot. Antifa, BLM, also protests gone bad turned riot. ICE, protests gone bad turned deadly. Fraud in all of these states. Folks, this is extremism. And the one responsible for fixing it is not somebody on the other team. It is you with your team. Now, if you're like me, you don't have a team other than humanity. But I am a rarity. I understand that. Unaffiliated is not common. But I chose that for this reason. Because I'm looking around at sometimes even my friends cannot be objective. The challenge I have is that both sides, because I'm not affiliated with them, me correcting them doesn't hold a ton of weight. They're like, yeah, but you're unaffiliated. Yeah, meaning I'm objective, maybe more so than the average person. That being said, most people are not that way. Most people have chosen a side. And let me be abundantly clear. I could attack a lot of things, but as a social science guy, psychology, sociology, culture, as a social science guy, I want to give you something very tangible. And you can make all the excuses. I'm going to tell you one of the excuses I heard. It was driving me freaking nuts, but it's because I love people in general. Even people I disagree with, I can still love. There is an article put out by the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, February 3rd, 2026. It's called TikTok Traitor, the rise of violent rhetoric targeting U.S. public officials. That's legit. That is an article. Okay. And in this article, super fascinating article, the data suggests that there has been a 124% increase in recent years of violent rhetoric directed at Democrats. There has been a 364% increase in violent threats directed at Republicans. Do the math. 364, much larger than 124. A lot larger. Which means Team Democrat right now ought to be saying to their people, stop with the violent rhetoric. By the way, I was having a dialogue about this information because, by the way, the ISD is a left-leaning source. So for them to say this, that's kind of a big deal. They're pretty centrist, but they're left-leaning. Okay. So for them to put this out is, one, very interesting and should not be ignored. So I was in this conversation, and this person says, I don't think that article accounts for bots. Oh my gosh, I wanted to lose my mind. Who's responsible for bots? It's the people behind them that created them, correct? In other words, there's still a human aspect to it. And they wanted to dismiss this data because of bots. You talk about stuck in your naivete, in your own bias narrative. A comment like that, even if it is true, which it might be, I'm not denying that it could potentially be true, but let's say that it is. Who cares? That means there's more people creating bots that are designed to create violent rhetoric directed at Republicans. And those people are slanting the data, meaning causing the problem. And what team do you think those would likely be on? You're going to get debates on this, but let's be real. If the Republicans say, stop it with this crap, and the Democrats say, stop it with this crap, those bots shrink up. Maybe 10%, 20%, 70%, 150%. Who knows? But if one side tries to tell the other side to police themselves, they're going to be like, yeah, after you, my friend. Because it's like the New York Mets and the New York Yankees trying to police the other team. It's just not going to work. So my takeaway for you today is this: do not forget your role in humanity. To police the people you have influence over, which is your teams. And if you can't take the higher road and be more interested in humanity in general, and I'm not saying that to put myself on a pedestal, although clearly that's a better option right now in our current political state. If you can't do that, that's fine. But police your people. And if you're unwilling to do that, you deserve to own some of that embarrassment and guilt that comes along with your team being extreme. And this is not a one-sided argument, although it has leaned hard in one direction the last several years. There have been plenty of right-leaning extremists that needed to be policed. And right now, if we're talking about policing your own team, one side is doing clearly significantly more than the other side. And y'all need to get on board because it's still not enough. I don't know if you remember the number, 124% increase is a massive increase in spite of it being significantly less than 364%. It is not a small number, and y'all need to fix that crap. Fix your team. Call your teammate out for acting like an imbecile and trying to physically attack and harm other people. And not just trying, succeeding. Think about this. How many people were harmed on J6? How many people were harmed during Antifa, BLM? How many people were harmed during assassination attempts on the president? How many people were harmed when Charlie Kirk was shot and murdered? This isn't small anymore, people. This isn't something you can justify away with, well, I mean, it was one of their own. It was one of them. You got to grow up. You got to police your own. If you're hearing violent rhetoric, you need to shut it down, no matter what team it's coming from. Or we risk the consequence. And the consequence of this path is clear as can be. The violence will increase on both sides until we have a massive, massive cultural divide that will be very difficult to fix. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get to Civil War type, behavior, but it could. It could. And I don't think that's what any of us really, truly want. Because when I ask people this question, what are you going to do if crud hits the fan so hard that we do end up in a civil war? And very few people actually have a plan. Matter of fact, most people don't even have rations for a month. That's a fact. Do what you want with that. And if you're not prepared, why would we continue to push down this path? And if we are prepared, why would we continue to push down this path? Because you're on Team Human first. So prove that you're on Team Human. Not only that, one more caveat. Where did murder come from? I looked up the origin of murder recently. And most literature goes all the way back to the stories right after Adam and Eve of Cain and Abel. Why would we go back to that? Folks, that's just dumb. Think about that. Okay. I hope I'm helping the conversation. What I want to do is encourage you to be brave and bold in your dislike for evil and evil rhetoric in any form, and be okay calling it out. Because if you don't, who will? Somebody else who they won't listen to, maybe? Influence the people you can, because we matter. You matter. And this kind of stuff has to stop. Thank you so much for following us, liking us, subscribing, and all that stuff. Again, we are not a political podcast. This is pure social science right here, using current cultural issues. That is it. That is it. That's why I'm able to throw in Antifa and BLM, which right now don't register as political affiliated organizations. Because that's not my concern. My concern is the social construct, the cultural issues, and how we, you and me, can make a difference. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.